Hello everyone and welcome back to the Arsenal Fan Down Under channel, and I'm here people to review the Sheffield United game that took place yesterday, and it was an emphatic victory from Arsenal, winning 5-0 at the Emirates, and it was just what we needed, people, to really demonstrate our quality and for the team to receive a much needed boost in confidence from the point of view of our attacking prowess and our attacking fluency. And it was great to see, people. It was a very interesting match because Arsenal started the game in much the same way that we've started most of our matches, in terms of playing a somewhat reserved, selective style of play, where we were waiting for our moments, probing, without going absolutely full pelt in terms of an attacking strategy. So we were able to work our way into the match, feel out Sheffield United, how they were performing, what sort of threat they would pose, and ultimately, once we were able to get our foot into the match, we worked a couple of opportunities. And first thing to say, people, what an incredible hat-trick from Eddie Nketiah. Just 3 phenomenal goals, excellently taken and also different. So the first goal, roughly 25 minutes through the game, Declan Rice spots the run of Nketiah, drills the pass into him. It was a difficult pass to receive for Nketiah. He did really well to just control it in such a way to knock it into his stride, and that enabled him to get a bit of space in the box, and he tucked his finish away into the bottom left corner. So impressive. So going in 1-0 at half-time, Arsenal were good value for that lead, but of course there was an expectation and there would have been an intensity to add to that 1-goal lead, and Arsenal were able to do that. They slowly moved through the gears in the second half, added a second goal. Nketiah, again, poacher's goal, pounced on a loose ball in the box and drilled it into the roof of the net in such emphatic style. And then his third goal, outside the box, worked half a yard of room for himself and was able to drive the ball into the top left corner with real venom. And at 3-0, it was game over. Arteta was able to make some changes, and he brought on the likes of Vieira, Tomiyasu, Trossard, Nelson, and all of those guys, and El Neni at the end. 3 of those guys contributed directly to goals. So the fourth goal, Vieira wins himself a penalty, converts it really sweetly. And I do like this theme, people, where Arsenal just rotating the penalty takers. We've seen, I believe, 4 different penalty takers so far in the Premier League: Saka, Ødegaard, Havertz, and then Vieira. And I like it because it just gets Fabio Vieira's goal scoring count up and running, and it's a way Arsenal can boost confidence and increase the sense of team spirit and group contribution to these goals. And Vieira obviously tucked away his penalty, no problem. And then the 5th goal came in stoppage time. Corner kick swung in from Vieira again. El Neni nods it on at the near post. And after a little bit of a ricochet in the box, Tomiyasu demonstrated excellent composure to just steer his finish into the top right corner and register his first goal for Arsenal. I was delighted for Tomiyasu, and you could see what it meant to him when he celebrated with the fans and also his teammates. So 5-0, people, leaves us just 2 points off Tottenham at the top of the table, and we absolutely needed that win because next week we go to St James's Park in a Saturday night fixture, and I think that's going to be a real test, people. I'm not particularly confident. Obviously, I hope we can win, and I believe we can win, but I'm not going to sit here and say I expect it, because it's a very difficult place to go, especially for an evening match. I feel that the atmosphere at St James's Park will be rocking. They'll really want to let Arsenal know that they're in for a battle, and I just hope we're battle hardened and ready for it, people. I think we are. We have got a certain ruggedness and resilience to our team. Declan Rice adds a lot of that in midfield, but also at the back with Gabriel and Saliba, they can mix it with anyone. I like the way Tomiyasu's come in the last few games and showed his discipline and his organisational awareness. I like how we're starting to look a little bit more threatening and ambitious with some of our attacking moves. Martinelli and Saka looked lively yesterday. I thought that was a real plus. And I think we're going to need to be at it in terms of winning possession off Newcastle, not allowing the likes of Guimaraes and Joe Linton time of day on the ball to move Newcastle up the pitch, because you know once Newcastle get into your third, into your defensive third, they have players that can hurt you with Almiron, Gordon and Wilson, obviously Isak injured. So it will not be easy against Newcastle. I'm anticipating a really difficult match, and obviously we will preview that one, people, beforehand. But we've given ourselves, people, we've put ourselves in a really good position after 10 games, and this is all I wanted, was to be in the mix. Roughly 2 points off the lead is great for us at this point. If we were to beat Newcastle, obviously Tottenham have a tricky fixture next week against Chelsea. No guarantees they'll win that. So even if they don't win it, it may leave us level on points with Tottenham again. So if we were to go to Newcastle and win, I think it would be a massive feather in our cap, people, and it would give us great impetus in this title race. So that one is one I've really got my eye on, and I'm sure Arteta will have as well. And it'll be interesting to see how he goes in terms of tactics ahead of the West Ham game, because obviously West Ham in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday or Wednesday night this coming week, you feel like he's going to have half a mind on the Newcastle game. So how will he manage the team? Who will he want to give minutes to in order to sharpen them up and give them a bit of confidence going into Newcastle? Who will he want to rest and reserve and keep fresh for the Newcastle game? And how much will he be thinking about West Ham? How much is Arteta going to go in and say, look, we can't afford to be thinking about Newcastle because we've got to get the job done in this competition against West Ham United? So it's all an interesting balance. From my point of view, people, I do think Newcastle is a harder match on paper in terms of our odds of winning are slightly less in that Newcastle game. But I also think in terms of which is more important, I don't think there's a hell of a lot in it, because I really want to win the Carabao Cup as an Arsenal fan. And obviously it's a knockout. So if we don't turn up and we lose to West Ham, it's all over. So I don't want to forego this match. However, I think there is a way Arsenal can beat West Ham, but still exercise a degree of rotation, keeping in mind the following match against Newcastle. So for instance, some changes I would like to see. I think I'd play Cedric in this game at right back. I'd give Cedric a run out, because I feel at right back he'll bring some energy. He's great going forward. He can put crosses in. So I don't by any means think Cedric is a weak link or anything. So I would definitely give him a run. I'd play Ramsdale in goal for sure. And I would go across the back four, people. I'd probably go with... So I've said Cedric. I'll definitely play Tomiyasu. Whether I play him at centre-back or left-back, not too sure. Maybe I'd play him at left-back, actually. And then I'd maybe go with Kivior and Gabriel in the middle, although they are both left-footed centre-halves. But I think Kivior stepped in at last season for Saliba towards the end. So I think Kivior could play right of the two central defenders, and I'd have Gabriel next to him. So that would be my back four. I'd go El Neni in that holding role. I think he came on and actually was knocking the ball around pretty well against Sheffield United. I'd give Rice and Jorginho another rest, so I'd play El Neni. Then I'd go Smith Rowe and Vieira. So I'd go Smith Rowe in the 8, Vieira in the 10, or vice versa. And then I'd go Trossard on the left, Nelson on the right, and Nketiah up top. Now that is a wholesale change, but I do feel, people, that team can beat West Ham, because I think West Ham might rotate, and I still think that gives us quality, people. I like that back four. I think Kivior has come in and he did well against Sheffield United. Tomiyasu's playing well. As I said about Cedric, he can add that attacking nous. Gabriel, solid defender. The midfield, El Neni would be a somewhat of a risk, but I trust El Neni. I rate El Neni. I actually think he's pretty good at moving the ball and passing, and he's a very solid tackler as well. Very safe tackler. I don't think he goes in with much venom or anything. I think he actually wins the ball pretty clean most of the time. So I'd like El Neni in that holding role. And as I say, people, you could mix it up in that 8 and 10 position. Smith Rowe, Vieira, you could play Havertz, but I'd just give Smith Rowe and Vieira another run, because I think Smith Rowe would benefit from another 90 minutes. And he's playing pretty well, Smith Rowe. Vieira obviously scored, give him a crack. And then front three, Trossard's such a good player, really good dribbler, solid, creative player on the left. And yeah, Nelson and Nketiah will be hungry, and Nketiah's obviously come off the back of a hat-trick, so he'll be buzzing. So yeah, that's what I do against West Ham, people. I think that'll be enough, and then the focus will turn to Newcastle. But in terms of this weekend, people, a great win against Sheffield United. It was expected to beat the team in 20th position, but we did it with authority and exuding that confidence. So onwards and upwards from here, people, for the Gunners. Peace, love.